Hello guys, this is Harvinder Singh, and in today's video we are going to make this calculator from scratch, and we are going to use HTML, CSS and JavaScript for making this calculator. This calculator have all the basic functionality that a simple calculator have, and let me show you. This is completely working, and go with anything and just see you have, and we have this animation effect as well. So yeah, without wasting any of your time, let's get straight into our VS Code and start coding this from scratch. So here we are in our VS Code, and as usual we have this calculator folder and nothing else. So let's create this file that we need, that is index.html, and let's create this style.css, and let's create this one more app.js. So HTML, JavaScript and CSS, all three files we have created. Let's start working on our HTML first. So let's first create this boilerplate for HTML5, and we can add the title to calculator, and so here in our body I'm going to create this calculator div, and we are going to have a display div. This display div is going to be the display for our calculator, and you're going to add here the output div. This div will contain those, like the query that we enter, like 2 + 2 or whatever we will enter. So this div will show us that, and we are going to create this result div that will give us the answer, like 4. Okay, so this is our display section of our calculator. Now we will get into our input section. So let's create this div, and in this div we are going to have those buttons that we have in our normal calculator. So let's start with okay, I just forgot the structure of calculator. Yeah, starting is the AC, okay, clear button, right? So let's create this button and AC. So I am creating this row wise. So first button is AC, then after that we have 4 buttons in each row. So first one is AC. The second one is going to be this button that will have our open bracket. Just do this 2 more times, and this is going to be this bracket, and we can add a plus here. Now this was the first row. Let's go for second row, and we just copied it, and the second row will contain this numbers. We will contain 7, 8 and 9. It will contain this minus, or you can call subtract. Let's do it 2 more times. So I'm just separating, I'm giving space so that we can, it's for our better understanding, it's not necessary. So this is going to be 4, do 5, this is going to be 6, and this is going to be multiply, this is going to be 1, this is going to be 2, okay, 2, and this is going to be 3. Finally we are going to with divide, and okay, we need one more row because we don't have that calculate button where we can execute our query. So let's do that. Okay, yeah, so in this last row we'll have this delete, and we can have 0 as well, decimal, and the equals to button. Okay, so this is our structure of our website, and let's save this, and let's see what we have till now. Open with live server, and yes, it's loading up. Okay, so we have this ugly looking calculator that is not even working. We just have a bunch of buttons, and so let's first give them a structure of a calculator so that it looks like a calculator. So we can do that with our style section, and let's get started, and we are going to start by removing the basic margin and padding. So margin going to be 0, padding is going to be 0, and box sizing border box. So let's save this, have a look. It's okay, nothing changes. So okay, as usual I always forget to link my CSS file, so let's link this, and let's link our JavaScript file as well. So script.source app.js. okay, now let's save this, and now it should work. And yeah, you can see that the margin and padding have gone. Now there is no margin and padding, there is no default margin and padding. So let's move forward. And okay, now let's grab our whole body and give it a height of 100 VH, because we don't need more than that. And we can give it a background of a linear gradient to right. And I have these two color copied in my clipboard that I am copying. You can use any of your color that you want. And yeah, let's save this and have a look. Okay, so we have this nice linear gradient, but our calculator is as it was. So let's do something for that. Let's bring them in middle. Okay, so display flex, justify content center, align items center. Okay, align items center. Let's save this, and yeah, they are at the center. So now let's grab this calculator div, and we are going to give it a width of 25%. Okay, and let's give it a height of, actually let's not give the height for now, let it occupy the height that it want. Okay, so width is going to be 25%. What else can we give? Yeah, I would like to give it the border just for temporary purposes, to see that how our this div is looking, and what area it is covering. Okay, so 2 pixels, solid red, and let's save this. And yeah, so this is our calculator div. Now let's style our display section. Okay, display section, and our display section will go with a width of 100% and a height of 20 VH we can give, and we can give it a background of black and a color of white. Let's save this and let's have a look. Okay, so this is our display section, and here we can see our input as well as our results. So now let's style our buttons as well. Buttons, we have given it a specific name, that is input class. So let's style this, and we are going to display grid, and we are going to use a grid template column 1fr 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 1fr. So let's save this. So it just divide in 4 columns, or yeah, so it divide it in 4 column. Okay, so this line. So now that's for the input. Let's style these buttons. So button, and we are going to remove the border to none, and we need this background color to white, and let's save this. Okay, so we need to space them out a bit. So okay, what we can do is we can give them a padding of 2 rem. Let's save this. Little bit smaller, maybe 1.5 1.6 rem. So yeah, it's looking good. And we can give a font size as well, font size of 22 pixels. Save this, and yeah, much better. Now it's looking good. Now I have this structure, so I am going to remove this ugly red border. So we can remove this border. Where was it? Calculator, yeah. To remove this border, and I'm going to give it a border radius of 10 pixels and overflow hidden. Let's save this, and yeah, you can see that we have this nice border radius. And so what else we can do is, okay, I want this text to appear this side, okay, because in my phone's calculator these texts are aligned to right. So where is our here as our calculator section. So I'm going to align text, or text align, sorry, text align, and I'm going to align it to right. Let's save this and have a look. Okay, that is looking good. Let's style them. Okay, so because they are very small, so let's make them at least visible. Okay, so we were having this output div, and we are going to give it a font size of 28 pixels, and we can give it a padding of, okay, and we can give a padding of 25 pixels. Okay, and we can do the same thing with our display. Not display, this is going to be input. No, wait, not input. What was the name of this? I just forgot. Result, yeah, this div name was result. So let's grab this result and make this also big. Font size is going to be 18 pixels, and padding is going to be 25 pixels as well. Now you might think that the output is 28 pixels, the size of this font is 28 pixels, and the size of the result is going to be 18 pixels. Why the result is looking so small? So what we're going to do is we are going to make it bigger than this size, but by animation. Okay, so let's create that animation. So let's create the keyframes, not the animation. We are going to use this later. So with this keyframe, we can name this big, and when it is 0%, it is going to be it will have the small font size, that is 18 pixels. Not 178 pixels, going to be 18 pixels. And when this animation will be 100%, so we will want the font size to be 30 pixels. Okay, so now we are going to do the same thing with we are going to create another keyframe that is going to be small, and this we are going to use for our output. It have a font size of 28, right? So currently when it is 0%, we have the font size to 28 pixels, and we are going to reduce this font size with animations, and we are going to reduce this to 18 pixels. Okay, so we have created this animations, but we are going to use this with our JavaScript. Okay, so let's have a look at our calculator till now. So it's looking like this. It's okay. The UI we can improve a little bit by giving a box shadow. Okay, so let's give that as well. Box shadow, and we can give 7 pixels, 7 pixels, 7 pixels, RGBA 0, 0, 0, and we are just going to fill this opacity section 0.5. Let's save this and let's have a look. Yeah, you can see the shadow, it's looking much better now. So this is going to be our design of our calculator. Okay, so now, yeah, one more thing I would like to add is we don't have any effect when we hover on our buttons, right? So let's do that. So let's do this button hover. So to font weight is going to be bold. Okay, let's save this and let's have this. Okay, yeah, so you can see that it's getting bold, but okay, but it's very sudden. So let's add this transition here, transition all 0.5 seconds, ease in out, and let's save this and have a look. Okay, so but now I think we can reduce the time to 0.3 second as well, because it will be a better one. Yeah, so this is better. So yeah, I think this is it for our structure, and now let's make this calculator work, and we are going to do that with our JavaScript. And let's get started with our JavaScript section. And yeah, okay, let's begin with our selector, and let's select all the essential divs and classes that we are going to need. So const, you can select output, and this is going to be document dot query selector. Okay, query selector, and we are going to select the output class that we made, and now we are going to select this result, and document dot query selector, and we are going to select the result class as well. And we need the buttons, right? So that we are going to, when we are going to click those buttons, we can do something. So let's grab those buttons, and let us name that button keys. So document dot query selector, but we are not going to do query selector, we are going to do query selector all, because we have more than one buttons, right? So here we are not selecting a class, so we don't need this dot symbol. You can directly write buttons. Okay, so now we have selected these three things, that is our output, our result, and our buttons. Okay, so now let's move forward. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead with our event listener, and we are going to listen to every click on the buttons, right, on our keys. So keys dot for each, and for each key we are going to add an event listener. So key dot add event listener, it will listen to the click, and it is going to execute the function calculate. Okay, so now let's create the function calculate, and let's see if it's working or not. So working, I always check whenever I add event listener, so that I can see that I haven't messed anything in my code. So okay, so let's inspect and console. Okay, I can see a error here, document is not defined. So I already have done something wrong. Here I have written document. So that should be document. Okay, let's save this and let's see. Okay, so our console log is not showing anything, so that means that our function is not working. So I have messed up something, and keys dot for each key add event listener click calculate, it should work. Okay. So I was talking about that there are more than one button, so I have added here buttons. So the rule of grammar doesn't apply here. It's going to be button only, and because we are going to select, we are selecting here the button element, so we don't need an S here. This is called a button. So this is called a button, so we are going to select only the button only. Okay, so not S. Let's save this and let's see. It should now work, and yeah, you can see that it's working. So our event listener and our function both are working. Now let's add the logic here, and I want this button text, and this is going to be this dot inner text. Okay, so this is going to give us the inner text of whatever we are clicking. So this function will only execute when we click on a button, so it is going to give us the inner text of the button. So if you want to see this working, let me show you. Console.log, and we can add this button text that we just created here. Let's save this, and if I'm clicking on AC, it's giving us the inner text, that is AC. If I'm clicking on this button, it's going to be 8. Okay, so we have what we want. So yeah, let's remove this. See, if our button text is going to be AC, okay, this is going to be AC. This is all clear, or I don't know what this AC stands for, but my calculator have this AC, so I am just putting out AC. And when it's AC, so when we click on AC, we want everything to be removed. Okay, we want all clear. So output dot inner text is going to be nothing. It's going to be null. Okay, and the same with result dot inner text. It's going to be null. Okay, all right. Let's save this and let's see if it is working. AC. So yeah, it's working. And let's add a result to 0 so that we can see this. If we add AC, so it's 0. Cool. So this is working. Okay, let's add here return as well. And now let's see that what are the specialties that we need. Some special keywords. Okay, this delete keyword. Okay, so when we click on this delete keyword, so if our button text is to delete button, okay, so when it is delete button, we want to delete the latest one. Okay, so we want to, there's a string, and we want to keep the complete string, but we want to remove the last item from that string. So for doing that, we are going to, okay, let's first do that. We are going to have this output dot text content, and we are going to output dot text content dot, we are going to use this inbuilt JavaScript function that is substring, that is going to split the string. Okay, so this substring takes 2 parameters. The first one is going to be the starting one 0, and the last one is going to be from where we want. So we just don't want the last one. So we are going to do is output dot text content dot length -1. Okay, so this gives, so this returns us the string with removing the last item. Okay, so now let's remove this as return this as well. So now if we are going to click on our equals to button, at this point, whatever the element is there in our output section, we are going to evaluate it. Okay, before that, let's get our output section working. Okay, so for that, if we are not clicking in any of these 3 special buttons, so that means we are going to click on these all buttons, that is operator plus these numbers. Okay, so we are going to fill this afterward. So for now, let's write this console log and equals, and come to this later. So we are going to come to this later. Before that, we want to see that if we are not clicking on any of these three special buttons. So the rest button that is remaining is all our numbers and operators. So we want to push these numbers or operators, we want to add this to our text, to our input text, okay, so that we can evaluate it from there. So for that we can write it as we want to output dot text content is going to be plus equals to our button text. Wherever we click button text and we are going to return it. Okay, so let me show you what does this means. So when we click AC, then everything is working, and when working, now let's add this 115 and plus 98. Okay, so everything is working. We can see those texts appear here, and let's see our delete function is working. Yeah, our delete button is also working. So with this we just have to now, okay, like suppose we are writing 8 plus 9 and we want this functionality, okay, so that it can give us the result of this. So with that we want to now write the logic for this equals to button, and so we are going to build this functionality of this equals to button. So for that we are going to use a inbuilt JavaScript function that is eval, and that function is just awesome. Let me show you first of all what does that mean. So if we write, okay, let me show you directly in the console and inspect this eval function. Generally what it do, it evaluates the value that we are putting in it, okay, so like eval, and we can add 2 plus 2 and it's giving us 4, you can see, and we can add anything like 85 into 79 divided by 32, whatever we write it will evaluate us. So we're going to use this eval function here. So what we're going to do is our result dot inner text is going to be the evaluation of our output dot inner text. So with that I think that this should work. Our calculator have the functionality of calculation. So let's clear this. That's 4 plus 4 equals to 8. Yeah, it's working, right? Let's add something else. 25 into 5, 125. Great. Let's add something humongous, and yeah, let's see this. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, so now you can check this by manually calculating it, or but I don't want to do that. I am assuming that it's working, and yes, it's working because we are using the evaluate function. Okay, yeah, so that is it about this, and now it's working. We are going to make this little bit. We are going to add something that is going to make our calculator better, like we are going to add a little bit of animation, okay, that we have already defined here in the keyframes. We have this keyframes small and this keyframe big. So let's do that, and when we're going to this equals to, at that time only we want to apply that what we call apply that animations. Okay, so we want to apply that animation to our output. Actually output, we are going to apply this to result dot style dot, okay, what was that? Style dot animation is going to be big 0.5 second, ease in out, and we are going to make this output smaller. Okay, style dot animation, and we have made an animation already for this as well, that was with the name small 0.5 seconds, ease in out, and let's see if it's working. Okay, let's first remove this default 2 plus 2 and 4 that we have added just for to see that it's to see the designing. We added this just to see the designs. Let's remove this 0. Let's save this. So now whenever we are going to open our calculator, we are going to see. Let's see our animation is working or not. Add. Okay, so you saw that this was getting smaller and this was getting bigger, but again it is coming back to its original position, and that's because we have not defined the animation fill mode. Okay, so we have to do that for both of this. Result dot style dot animation fill mode, going to be mode, and this is going to be forward, forwards, and let's do the same for output as well. This basically don't return the element to its initial position. Okay, this doesn't allow it to return to the initial position. So let's see, 7 plus 9 plus 6 is equals to, it's still not working. So forward, okay, forward, it's going to be forwards, not forwards. So 78 plus 96, yeah, now you can see it's getting smaller and it's getting large. Okay, so with that, now if we are going to do with AC, and after that when we are going to do, so this is going to have the same thing, there's no animation, this is going to have the same text size that we had earlier in the end of the animation. So for that, whenever we are going to click this AC all clear button, we want to clear the animations also. So what we're going to do is we want to copy these two things, the output animation and the result animation, and when we click on this AC button, and I want to clear them both, so there are no animations when we click on the AC button, so that it can, so that whenever we click on the equals to button, our animation works, right? For example, 78 plus 96 is equals to, yeah, and when we add AC, so it is coming back to its original text size, so like 36, yeah, it's working. So yeah, that was it about this calculator, and we didn't check this delete functionality. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so that was it about this calculator. It was fun making this calculator now, and I hope you learned something from the video, and yeah, see you soon. Have a great day ahead.